Following the recent spate of cash-in-transit robberies, suspected heist kingpin 39-year-old Wellington Bebe Chenenda was apprehended in Bloemfontein last night. He and his alleged gangs are said to be linked to over 20 heists across Gauteng, Limpopo, the Northwest, and Mpumalanga.
Following the recent spate of cash-in-transit robberies, suspected heist kingpin 39-year-old Wellington Bebe Chenenda was apprehended in Bloemfontein last night. He and his alleged gang are said to be linked to over 20 heists across KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo, the Northwest, and Mpumalanga. This is the story of how South Africa's most feared robbery mastermind was finally brought down. May 2018 brought a cold morning to Boksburg that residents would never forget. Two armored cash vans carrying millions in currency were ambushed in broad daylight, surrounded by armed attackers and stripped of every rand they contained. This wasn't some opportunistic street crime. This was the signature work of Wellington Bebe Chenenda, the criminal architect behind South Africa's most brutal cash heists. For years, Bebe had operated as a phantom, executing robbery after robbery while authorities chased shadows. Police had come close to capturing him before, but he always managed to disappear. This Boksburg heist, however, would prove different. What seemed like his greatest triumph would trigger a chain of events that even someone as calculated as Bebe couldn't control. The king of South Africa's robbery empire was about to face consequences he couldn't escape. Bebe's origins trace back to Tembisa, a sprawling township on Gauteng's East Rand. Like countless young men in these communities, he grew up surrounded by poverty, limited opportunities, and the seductive promise of quick money. While most who turned to crime stayed small, petty theft, muggings, corner store robberies, Bebe envisioned something far more ambitious. He had no interest in small-time criminal activity. Bebe wanted to build an organization so powerful it would dominate headlines and force law enforcement to acknowledge his existence. And that's precisely what he accomplished. By the mid-2000s, Bebe had ascended to leadership of one of South Africa's most dangerous and professionally organized cash-in-transit robbery crews. Between 2016 and 2018, his name became synonymous with violent heists across multiple provinces: Gauteng, Mpumalanga, Northwest, and Limpopo. In total, Bebe and his crew were connected to at least 23 armored van robberies, stealing approximately 46 million rand, roughly $2.5 million. But raw numbers don't capture what made Bebe's operation truly terrifying. It was the precision, the planning, the military-level execution of each attack. His crew wasn't recruited randomly from street corners. These were specialists, expert drivers, marksmen willing to engage in firefights with security personnel, and explosives technicians capable of breaching armored vehicles in seconds. One key member was Thato Gaupitwe, known throughout South Africa's criminal underworld as the Bomber. The nickname was earned, not given. Gaupitwe possessed expertise with explosives that turned impenetrable steel vaults into twisted metal within moments. With the Bomber providing the technical expertise to breach any security measure, Bebe's gang seemed unstoppable. Then came May 17, 2018, the operation that would ultimately seal Bebe's fate. By this point, his reputation had spread throughout South Africa's criminal landscape. But what unfolded that morning in Boksburg would elevate his notoriety from street legend to national news coverage. This wasn't another cash-in-transit robbery. This was a paramilitary assault that resembled something from an action thriller. The operation required extensive preparation. Bebe's crew had studied everything: routes, schedules, guard rotations, vehicle specifications. They'd been conducting surveillance for weeks, waiting for optimal conditions. Just after 9 a.m. on Atlas Road near East Rand Mall, two G4S cash vans were following their regular routes. The area was busy with morning commuters and shoppers, none of whom suspected the violence about to erupt around them. Bebe's crew split into two assault teams, both heavily armed with military-grade rifles and high-powered explosives. One team's vehicle suddenly rammed the first armored van, forcing it to an abrupt halt. Before security personnel could react, gunfire erupted. Bullets filled the air as terrified civilians abandoned vehicles and sought cover wherever possible. a peaceful commercial district transformed into a combat zone within seconds. The crew understood that small arms fire wouldn't penetrate the van's armor. They deployed explosives powerful enough to shake surrounding buildings, fill the air with smoke, and send vehicle fragments flying in all directions. While the first team executed their breach, the second team attacked the other armored van using identical tactics: ramming, gunfire, then explosives that tore through reinforced steel. Money scattered everywhere, bills floating through smoke-filled air like confetti at some grotesque celebration. Shocked bystanders, many still processing what they'd witnessed, pulled out phones and began recording. These videos would later circulate nationally, showing the country just how brazen and coordinated the attack had been. Within minutes, Bebe's crew collected their haul, loaded into getaway vehicles, and vanished before police could even respond. Witnesses described it as the most terrifying thing they'd ever experienced. But for Bebe and his crew, this operation served a purpose beyond financial gain. It was a demonstration of power, a message broadcasted to rivals, law enforcement, and anyone who might question who controlled South Africa's criminal underworld. For a brief period, the strategy worked. The Boksburg heist became Bebe's masterpiece. 2 armored vans destroyed, millions stolen, 0 arrests. It represented everything Bebe had built his reputation on: power, fear, and respect. But this operation also became his fatal mistake. The sheer scale of the robbery forced authorities to commit unprecedented resources to his capture. From that moment forward, Bebe became South Africa's most wanted criminal, and law enforcement mobilized everything available to bring him down. For months, specialized police units worked continuously to identify and locate the mastermind behind the country's most violent cash-in-transit heists. The Hawks, South Africa's elite crime-fighting unit, with a reputation for dismantling dangerous criminal organizations, led the investigation. They quickly determined that Bebe didn't operate in isolation. He'd constructed a sophisticated network. His organization included loyal operatives, skilled getaway drivers, explosives experts, and crucially, inside sources who provided intelligence about security procedures and transport schedules. This wasn't some street gang executing opportunistic crimes. This was a professional criminal enterprise operating with military-level planning and discipline. The Hawks deployed undercover operations, phone surveillance, and financial tracking to slowly dismantle Bebe's infrastructure. What they discovered was shocking. Bebe had corrupted individuals across multiple sectors: police officers providing information, security guards leaking transport routes, even employees at financial institutions who looked the other way at critical moments. These weren't minor players either. Some held positions of genuine authority, wearing uniforms and badges by day, while collecting criminal payoffs by night. The Hawks began systematically arresting associates, using interrogation and evidence to force cooperation. Each arrest weakened Bebe's network. Each confession brought investigators closer to their primary target. Yet every time authorities thought they had him cornered, Bebe disappeared like smoke. By mid-2018, pressure had intensified dramatically. Police raided safe houses in Tembisa and Centurion, locations where Bebe was known to operate. Each time they arrived to find empty rooms and no actionable intelligence. Task forces from multiple provinces combined resources, determined to end Bebe's criminal reign permanently. Then on July 26, 2018, fortune finally shifted. It was a cold evening in Bloemfontein. Most residents were winding down their day, relaxing at home, unaware that South Africa's most wanted criminal was nearby. A group of police officers near a shopping mall noticed something unusual: a vehicle sitting too still, occupant behavior suggesting nervousness. Their instincts, sharpened by years of street-level law enforcement, triggered suspicion. Running the vehicle identification revealed it was stolen. Officers approached cautiously, surrounding the car before ordering the driver to exit. At first glance, he appeared unremarkable, just another person trying to avoid attention. Then they checked his identification, and everything changed. Behind the wheel sat Wellington Bebe Chenenda, the man who'd evaded capture despite being South Africa's most wanted criminal. After all the violent heists, the millions stolen, the explosive attacks, Bebe wasn't apprehended in a dramatic shootout or high-speed pursuit. He was found sitting quietly in a stolen vehicle, far from his usual operating territory, looking like any other criminal trying to stay invisible. News of his arrest spread rapidly. Authorities moved quickly to file every possible charge: attempted robbery, illegal firearm possession, illegal explosives possession. The list of charges reflected the extensive damage Bebe had inflicted across South Africa. His trial would become one of the most significant in the country's ongoing battle against organized crime. Prosecutors arrived prepared with overwhelming evidence. Bebe and his remaining crew faced 179 criminal counts, including attempted racketeering, armed robbery, and weapons violations. Every charge connected to a specific violent heist that had terrorized communities and devastated cash transport companies. The case, known as the Themba trial, was held at Mpumalanga High Court in Middelburg. This wasn't merely accusation. Prosecutors had constructed an ironclad case. Phone records, surveillance footage, and testimony from former associates who turned state's evidence all painted a comprehensive picture of Bebe's criminal empire. The trial faced numerous delays due to the massive number of charges, witness protection concerns, and complex legal issues. 2 of the original 8 defendants died during proceedings, further complicating matters. At times it seemed the trial might never conclude, but prosecutors remained focused, understanding that Bebe's conviction would send a powerful message throughout South Africa's criminal underworld. Today, the man who once orchestrated heists worth over 46 million rand sits in a prison cell, separated from the luxury lifestyle his criminal activities once funded. His arrest and conviction demonstrated that regardless of how sophisticated or powerful a criminal organization becomes, law enforcement persistence eventually prevails. His downfall also forced South Africa to examine systemic vulnerabilities in cash transport security, leading to improved training, enhanced protocols, and stricter controls to prevent inside information leaks that had enabled Bebe's operation to function so effectively for so long.